just go through some of the pieces of equipment I've used over the past 10, 12 years of doing organic production. Some work good, and some don't always work as good as they should. I blame Reggie for that, but otherwise you go on from there. Pretty straightforward, you know, the good old rotary hoe. I bought this rotary hoe probably 20 years ago because in conventional production, I just wanted to cover. By the way, I'm 38-inch rows yet. I am just an old-time guy. I'm 7 years old. I'm not going to be farming much longer, probably. I have no sons or daughters interested in farming. I live in Buffalo, Minnesota, which is basically 50% of the people that live in Buffalo commute to the Twin Cities. And in the last 2 years, 60 acres that I've been farming over the last 20 years have been converted to 10-acre home sites. You know, so I'm just losing land to urban development, you might say. So, yeah, cash crop. It's a cash crop. I wish I owned the land, but I don't. So, so I'm basically 38-inch rows, and it works okay for me because of the fact that tractor widths stay the same. Combines and all that kind of stuff, so you're not moving tires in and out and all that kind of stuff, or hay equipment or whatever. So the good old rotary hoe. One thing, of course, you know, when the rotary hoe gets worn down, all these are all brand new wheels now, so you have to kind of keep those wheels up to date and so they do a proper job. But the rotary hoe works pretty good. You can move right along, and you can, you know, pick up the little tiny weeds that are sitting in the row right here, for example, if you're on. It's not a full width rotary hoe, so you have to kind of be somewhat accurate anyway.
That's not a Littleton.
That's a, it's not a Littleton. No, it's a straight getter rotary hoe, right? Kind of like John Deere, whatever the case might be. It's just that you can fold the arms up and that type of thing when you want to go field to field, which makes it pretty nice. Another piece of equipment I have is a rotavator, not a rotavator, but a what do you want to call it? They got the big disc in here spinning, and so therefore you can a rototiller basically. I got a rotavator too. I got to keep those two straight. A rototiller. So basically, I use this a lot on alfalfa. I'll run alfalfa for 3 years, and then I'll run this rotavator through there about 3 inches deep, and does a nice job of breaking all the stems up and so on, the roots up in the alfalfa field, and instead of a chisel plow or a plow. So I like to use a rotavator for that, a rototiller for that, and it takes a little bit of power, and but otherwise it does a nice job. So that works well for those type of situations. This is not a weed control equipment, but it's my big 500-gallon sprayer with a boomless nozzle on right here. It's a boomless nozzle. The nice part about boomless nozzle is that you know, I took all the wings off, but my other sprayer has all the booms on yet. But for going from field to field, from small field to small field, you get a nice spray pattern, and you can spray your sprays out of this thing. So, and boomless nozzle is about $180, and you just buy an old sprayer, and you got a nice foliar sprayer for alfalfa fields, corn fields, wheat fields, that type of thing. It's real quick and easy. You can mix up your fish. I put my fish in there, potassium sulfate, whatever the case might be, and using this boomless nozzle sprayer here compared to this one here. I should sell this one. Anyone want to buy this thing? I don't need any more, really, because you know the problem with these kind of sprayers, spraying some of the products, it's easy to plug up nozzles and so on. Whereas this thing, you can't really plug nozzles on because the nozzle is so big that it doesn't create a problem. This is my flamer. Pretty much organic farmers. I just took this picture the other day. It looks, you know, sitting outside. I don't have a room for it in the shed, but there's, you know, you got these units that shoot the flame here and then come like this, and so therefore if the corn row is right here, here's the other flame. You'll hit that corn row right here, and I usually run 2 flames. One of the corn is only about 3 to 4 inches tall, and then when the corn gets a foot high or a foot and a half high, then I'll change how the angle comes into the corn. And then what I'll follow up with is, here's my Littleton cultivator. One thing nice about the Littleton cultivator is that after you flame, you know, it knocks down the grasses, they turn brown, they lay over, but guess what? they're going to come up again, aren't they? Because they grow growing points underneath the ground. So that's where the Lilliston comes in handy, because it does a nice job of bringing that soil back into the row and covering the grasses up. So I've had good success running this Lilliston cultivator after flaming, the flaming the second time anyway. So that's kind of a nice tool to have. And you can go 6 mile an hour. It doesn't throw up lumps of dirt like a Buffalo cultivator. It throws a lot more lumps. This throws up more of a fine dirt, and you don't have to worry about burning the corn too much. Here's my Buffalo cultivator. Same thing, same idea. I have a guidance system on here. Kind of buried, those little arms are buried in the snow here. But at least it helps you cultivate pretty accurately and keep those disc killers pretty close to the row right here. And this is an outboard wand kit, so it's sitting off to the side there, so it's not underneath the tractor or anything like that. I know there's better monitors or units nowadays for cultivating than I have, but it gets me by. Here's the cultivating process right here. And if I want to, I got a Demco squeeze pump here, so I can put on some more liquid fertilizers right on the row here. So again, you can get a better job of putting on some fish or whatever the case may be if you want to add some extra nutrients while you're cultivating. This is what they call a rotavator. It's I never took a picture of this while I was using it, but basically what it is, it's Steinbach's rotavator and all these little spike wheels about 6 inches apart. And they really do a great job of pulling those weeds out of the soybeans. You can go into soybeans that tall, and they can yank out those real small growing weeds on the row. You have to go pretty slow, but it does and it has hydraulic control right here, so you can vary the amount of pressure that you put on those wheels there. And so that's why this little notch thing is sitting right here. And so you can tilt that back in and really put a lot of pressure on the row, or if you want to lift it up, you just want to do a light job, it works good. It really works better than a rotary hoe if you have crusted soybeans or corn on the corn row, because it really is pretty aggressive. It'll really do a nice job of breaking up a crust on a soybean type situation or corn rows that got crusted over. I use this thing here as my basic drill for drilling alfalfa, not soybeans, but wheat or small grain. But what I've done, some years, I plugged the holes that were over between the rows, and then I'll have a better picture on. I'll show you something here better. In other words, this is my corn stalks this year or last year. This is going to be soybeans this coming year. And two things. Normally, because of weather, under normal circumstances, I'll take that big red drill and I'll plug the holes that are right here, and I'll plug them, and then I'll run 2 or 3 rows of cereal ryegrass on top of those corn rows. Because my plan is this year is to actually ridge till my soybeans into those corn rows, because I got a pretty good ridge there from that Lilliston cultivator. So I'm going to take my Buffalo planter and basically almost no-till my soybeans into my corn stalks, corn rows. I used to be a ridge tiller when I was conventionally farming, so I kind of know how to do that, but the weed control is a big issue. Can I control the weeds with just that? But hopefully I'll flame the soybeans and run the rotavator or the tine weeder. Here's the tine weeder that I use. This Steinbach tine weeder. And again, just trying to learn how to use these things properly to get the right tilt. You got these arms here. You can get the tilt a little more. And basically, they recommend that these things stand up pretty straight, and you won't be pushing dirt. You'll be actually yanking those weeds out and get more of a vertical pitch on these tines here. This is my Joker. It's kind of a vertical till machine, kind of a combination of vertical tillage. But one thing nice about it, basically it has these discs, 2 rows of discs right here. And you can do a real nice job of just going 2 to 3 inches deep. And then this unit here kind of mixes the residue back in again. And so you kind of leave a really nice seed bed for planting your small grains, for example. So I use that for, sometimes I'll use my rototiller, and then I'll come back and do a real light, using this joker to make a nice seed bed. I know we're not no-tilling, but if you're into alfalfa and some of those things, you got to get this nice seed bed. You got to get this nice firm seed bed, and this thing does a nice job of giving me a nice firm seed bed. It takes, it's heavy, but you have to. But you can go 10 mile an hour with the thing. You can get a lot done in a hurry too. So people see me going through the field 10 mile an hour. It looks kind of weird, but you're disking. But it does a nice job of. It doesn't need these ridges like a typical disc. And every one of these is spring loaded individually, and so you don't get that type of problem. And they're all sealed bearings and all, and so I never replaced any bearings and had this thing for 10 years, I suppose. Here's me cutting hay, again, part of your tools if you're an organic farmer, and you can figure out a way to raise hay and sell it. I'm kind of in a good horse hay market area, being close to Twin Cities. Most of my hay is going to small square bales to horse farmers. So that's just the market that we've developed over the years. So that rotation works pretty good for alfalfa and grass and so on. Here's my buffalo planters inside the shed, not cleaned up, but if you look at my buffalo planter right here, if I plant in situations where I'm flat planting, where don't have a ridge, there's a big sweep, I take the sweep off. But on those corn stalks I showed you a little bit ago, I'll put the sweep back on, and I'll try to move as much of this corn stalks off the top of the row and put dirt, the dirt will end up in here. And what I plan on doing, of course, is putting on residues, spraying on residues before I plant, so hopefully the residues will kill some of the, get that stalks to start decomposing a little faster. So that's a buffalo, and it has liquid. So I'll put on my SP1 with my liquid units right here, and works pretty good. This is a drill that I bought out of Pennsylvania, and it's a high clearance drill, so I can go into my corn that's that tall and interseed my radishes or cereal rye or a couple of other things in between the rows of corn or soybeans, because it's got lots of clearance. So what I have to do is take some of the row units off so it can become a full width no-till drill with all the units on, or I'll take the units off that are over top the corn row, and I can plant in between those corn rows. And so here's a picture of that right now. So I got basically 3 rows of, with 38-inch rows, you can get about 3 rows of cover crops in between the corn rows. So again, one thing I wish I would have learned quicker is when I was doing ridge till for the past, I farm about 30 years now. I wish 20 years ago I would have figured out how to use cover crops on my ridge till system. Because I think a ridge till system I was okay, you're rotating corn, soybeans, et cetera, but one part you're missing is getting cover crops between the rows during the winter time. Really blew that. Just didn't figure that out, wasn't smart enough, whatever the case might be, and to figure out how to get some cover crops going between those rows on the ridge till system. Ridge till system's good, but that missing step, the cover crops, or something growing in the fall of the year and into the winter and so on. There's my grain bin setups. I got 3 hopper bins and a regular bin, so the hopper bins are nice for different crops, of course. Got a belt conveyor to run soybeans, so on. That's nice. You don't get the crack in the beans. Here's another picture of that drill working. And what I tried this year, and it didn't work, or last year, I had this cereal rye growing here. I was planted in the fall the previous year. I thought, well, I'm going to try, and I'm going to take my no-till drill, put all the units back on, and I'm going to try to seed soybeans in here. And then when the soybeans are up about that high, just take my my disc mower and cut the tops off. Well, thank goodness I only did about 2 or 3 acres. I said I better quit. I made the mistake of not going deep enough with the no-till drill. I just didn't get a good stand. So if you're going to try something like this, it's the other way to do it, of course, is you let the rye grow taller and roll it down and then plant with a no-till drill right behind it. So that's another way to do it. But I think if you can make this thing work, and get in, and the weed control is fantastic if you can get your soybeans sit in there properly and get a good stand. So
sand?
Yeah.
Is that sand? Or
This is lighter soil. I have lighter soil.
yeah, light soil that you have. Yeah. You gotta go ahead and
Get down
a little deeper.
Yeah, I made that mistake. So I blame Reggie again for that. So anyway, but I mean, that's the fun thing about doing some of the things that I've been trying to do is that you're going to make some mistakes along the way. You got to learn. You got to think ahead of time. You got to plan. You got to have some equipment that can kind of get some of these things done properly. And so here's another picture of me drilling right here. I drove, this is Dutch white clover between my soybeans. And Dutch white clover, the advantage of Dutch white clover, doesn't get very tall, so you don't have to worry when you're combining, you're not going to get any green material in your soybeans. Yeah.
What time of the year did you drill that?
Oh, with soybeans with 38-inch rows, you can see the beans were leafed out, potted out already. Yeah.
They were potted out.
Yeah. Yeah. But with 30-inch rows, now with 30-inch rows might be a little different. With narrow tires, you can probably get by. There's a lot of guys trying to figure out how to put a Gandies on high boy sprayers, doing all kinds of things to get this cover crop planted between corn rows or soybean rows. But if you can get this Dutch white clover, which I had a good stand, guess what I'm going to have here for the corn crop next year? Nitrogen, yeah.
Will it overwinter? Is it strong enough to overwinter?
It will overwinter a little bit, yeah. But I got it in early enough that I got pretty good height growth on it. So that's the key thing, to get it as early as possible, actually. Yeah. There's a thistle. So.
You don't wonder again.
Yeah. So that's part of it. And here you see another picture of that. Gary, you want to switch those other ones on the table? I didn't get all of them on here for some reason on my PowerPoint here. Just go to that. Then I'll be done. Yeah. No, this one right here. Grab this one right here. I took a picture of this before I left the other morning. This is my spreader, and whoops. Yeah. What I use this for is spreading my chicken litter, spreading gypsum. If you buy something like this, make sure you buy something with a real wide belt on or chain on, because if you don't, you just can't get that chicken litter to fall or whatever the case might be. But it's really a handy piece of equipment to do gypsum, chicken litter, anything like that. And so that's a nice piece of equipment to have, because it gives you that ability to, chili nitrate. I spread chili nitrate with this thing before, so you can get many, many rates. That's really a nice part about it. The next one, go to the next one. This one right here. Here's using that same drill to go through and plant radishes and cereal rye between my corn rows. Remember when I talked about the corn being about that tall? Well, this is the result of that. And I don't care how you get it done, but boy, if we can do some of these things, and then what I'll do, of course, is chop these stalks probably in the fall of the year, depends on the weather. Spray residues on it, and then chop the stalks. And I'll probably just leave it that way, and maybe I won't get the good results out of the residue because I don't have it covered with dirt, but it's still helping something out there trying to decompose that residue that's in there. One more, I think I got one more in there, and that's this one right here. Yeah. Same thing. I just want to show you another picture of that. So that's basically what I do, equipment-wise.
Questions, Dan?
There.
The radishes, do they die out over the winter?
Yeah. Pretty much so. They'll die out over the winter. Yeah. The big balls sitting there, that type of thing.
How many?
Okay, you first, then him.
You're going to come in and flame your soybeans when you push that off with the buffalo. You got to catch steel on fire or worry about it.
Yeah. You do a lot of corn stalks there, so I might not be able to flame those beans this year, like we do a normal flat tillage where you got a black soil there and you got soybeans there. But so I'll have to just wait for a rainy day and, and I never did get a picture of the flamer working because when that thing kicks in, I don't want to go behind the tractor and look at that flame, but you know, if you have a flamer, there's a lot of heat being generated out there. But that might be a problem for me. I might not be able to flame my soybeans. I flame my soybeans when they're about that high. So maybe I have to use a rotary hoe instead or do some other, you know, thing.
When you're interseeding those radishes in that corn, what's your target for pounds per acre?
About 3 pounds of radishes, 4 or 5 pounds of zero rye. Yep. There's so many more mixes that you can use.
And you just said that you flame your soybeans when they're this high.
About that high. Just when the cotyledon is out of the ground, it's got the crook in you. Yeah. There might be 2 leaves on there, the most.
Doesn't it kill those 2 leaves?
No, it does once in a while, but they'll come back. They'll be fine.
About what does the gas cost to run that flavor?
Oh, I figure it was about running about $3 to $5 an acre when gas was pretty cheap. So it really is not that bad. You know. No, it's, I call it a non-chemical protectant. That's how I label that in my bookwork.
Stan, if there was one other piece of equipment you could get, do you have an idea what that would be?
I think he's going to talk about that. Paul's going to talk about that. what he's got coming, right, Paul?
Yeah.
Okay, that one piece I'd like to have, but I'm too old to buy something that costs that much money.
Oh, my goodness.